DebX, amplifying voices, accelerating change. Please help me welcome to the DebX stage, Christina Micek.
I'm sitting in the corner of the massive couch in the tiny little room that is my therapist's office. I always sit in this corner of the couch because it's furthest from him and closest to the door. I know I have to be here, but I really want to escape. And that's the same feeling I have in my marriage, and that's why I'm here, to decide, should I divorce my husband or not? My therapist opens with, "So tell me about your childhood." I'm frustrated. I'm not here to talk about my childhood. I'm here to figure out my future. My therapist looks at me calmly and lovingly and says, "I understand. So tell me about your childhood." After a moment, I speak. There were 6 kids in my family, and my dad was gone all the time working. The only attention he gave me was when he would come into my sisters in my room at night, kneel down by the bed, and the 3 of us said our prayers together. He would then tuck us in, kiss us goodnight, and say, "I love you." The therapist continues to prod, "Well, what about your mother?" "What about her? She never came in and prayed with us. She stopped kissing me goodnight when I was 5, and..." Oh, wait a minute. I don't remember my mother ever saying she loved me. Ever. In fact, she always said she only wanted 2 children, and I was the 3rd. Sadness overwhelms me. My mom was around, but never said she loved me. And my dad said he loved me, but he was hardly ever around. Growing up, I never truly felt loved, and this bottomless pit formed inside me, desperately needing to be filled. And at the age of 21, after only 6 months of dating, my boyfriend asked me to marry him, and I said yes. You see, I thought his love would fill me up and make me happy. I mean, we had great times going out drinking, hanging out with friends, and the physical affection helped me to feel loved for a little while. But none of it actually filled that gaping hole in my heart. None of it truly healed that childhood wound. Have you ever felt like you couldn't fill an emptiness inside of you? Even though my husband tried for 7 years, he couldn't fix that enormous crater in my heart. Actually, nothing outside myself could. And I thought I had tried everything. Then, about 5 years ago, I worked for a doctor who shared with me a perspective I had never heard before. He explained there's one thing that we have to do in order to heal those emotional wounds, feel complete, and truly be happy. That one thing is we have to forgive ourselves. That's right. It's not about forgiving others. It's about forgiving ourselves. Entirely letting go of the negative emotions and self-judgments we have about who we are and what we've done. In my case, I had to completely let go of the feeling that I wasn't good enough for my mom to want or love me. But self-forgiveness isn't always easy. Why? Well, we all have this voice in our head. Have you noticed that voice? I'm sure you have. It's that voice that's talking all the time, and it's usually telling us what's wrong with us. Yeah, well, that voice can be called the ego. And we think that our ego voice is us, but it's actually not our true soul self. And it tends to be pretty mean, and it makes it incredibly difficult for us to forgive. So, what can we do about it? Well, one day, I watched an interview with Louise Hay, the author of the book, You Can Heal Your Life. And she suggests an exercise to do while looking in the mirror. I figure, why not give it a try? In front of my bathroom mirror, I look at myself, look into my eyes, and for the first time in my life, I tell myself, I love you. Right on cue, there it is, that ego voice saying, what are you talking about? You weren't good enough to be loved. You never were. Your mom never wanted you. Your mom never loved you. You don't deserve to be loved. You're not worthy. I feel the pain completely, and I sob uncontrollably. But even though those words stab deeply into my heart, I find I am strong enough to tell that voice to shut up. And then it does. And in the silence, this calm knowing comes to me. I was always a good person. I looked out for other people. I was a good friend. I always did the best I could with what I knew at the time. And then this deep compassion washes over me. And I physically feel the tightness in my heart and chest release. The pain lets go. And in that moment, I forgive myself for believing that I wasn't good enough for my mom to love me. And then this amazing feeling of love rises up like an ocean tide into my heart and fills what was missing. I finally understand why forgiving ourselves is the key to filling that void and to create healing and happiness. Because forgiveness removes the blockages and lets the love in. After that, I began to create the life I really wanted. I started developing not just good, but amazing relationships. And I now feel happier and more fulfilled than I've ever felt in my entire life. My heart is overflowing with so much love that I have extra to give away. And I tell people all the time that I love them, which was something I couldn't do before, and I hadn't even realized it. And even though I ended up divorcing my husband, I can forgive the pain of the relationship, love him for who he is, and now we're good friends. I also started spending more one-on-one time with my dad, and when we're together, I can feel how much he loves me. But what's most astonishing of all is that I started to express my love to my mom. And wouldn't you know it, not too long after, she started to say she loves me. Now, she tells me she loves me every time we talk. And as for me, whenever I'm hurting and that ego voice starts beating me up, I can tell it to shut up and forgive myself and feel the love inside me. I heal myself with forgiveness and love from the inside out. And what about you? I find that we all have some kind of feeling of emptiness or not being complete for whatever reason. And maybe you've tried filling your bottomless pit with relationships or sex, drinking or drugs, or success and money. But the next time you feel that emptiness, I want you to tell that ego voice to shut up. Whatever you've done, whatever other people have done to you, whatever pain you've experienced, let yourself feel it completely. But then have compassion for yourself. Know and feel that you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. You are a good person. And it's time to forgive yourself and let the pain go. Forgiving yourself breaks down those walls and lets the love in. The love that will fill any emptiness you feel. The love that will heal and complete you. the love that you will then create and bring to the world from the inside out.